Indoor World Series 2020 Finals. Gold to be decided for the compound women. I'm Greg White, joined by Steve Anderson. And the field of play is set 18 meters from shooting line to target on a 40-centimeter target face. And if you've seen Recurve Archery do this before in compound, we are going to reduce the 10 ring in half. It's going to go to 2 centimeters. And Steve Anderson, here's the bracket on how we got to our finals match in our single elimination rounds. Those 150 points total. And you can see as we come to our competitors here, and this is a tale of veteran versus rookie. And here is one of our veteran competitors who, by the way, United States veteran. She's only 24 years old, but her resume is long and distinguished. Paige Pearce comes out in that Bowtech jersey. And next to her from Estonia, Lisell Jaatma, 20 years old, and now in the adult category in her first season. And Lisell Jaatma from Estonia has burst onto the scene. She won Nîmes just a couple of weeks ago and now shoots her way right into the gold medal final here at the Indoor Archery World Series final. Steve, I know you were in Nîmes. You got to see these shooters shoot. What are you thinking?
Shooting for the gold medal on target, number 1, representing the United States of America, Paige Pearce.
Yeah, it's good to see Lisell out here. She's, like you said, she's a younger archer just coming onto the scene, but did so with a bang in Nîmes, France, getting the win there. That was her first major final stage, so she's quickly put herself on a second one. We'll see how she can react to that. Paige, like you said, has been around the archery block a time or two, and she is, second place last year at Outdoor World Championships. Stood on a couple of final podiums already over this Indoor World Series, and she's going to be tough to beat. She's shot really well so far this weekend, and I think she's confident, and that's always a great combination.
One of our top shooters in the United States, her boyfriend Tate Morgan, in the coach's box. As the United States squares off against Estonia. This is compound archery. Steve, let's explain some scoring.
So, as you saw there, Paige opened up with a 10 on that small 2-centimeter 10 ring. And like the Recurve archers, she was low and left. We've seen that out of virtually everyone in lane 1. She quickly made an adjustment. So let's see what she gets here. There's one more in the middle. So with the compound match, we're not doing the set system anymore. We're going to a cumulative scoring system. They're going to shoot a 15-arrow match, 3 arrows at a time, and winner takes all, right? It's pretty easy. There's no set system, and you're not jiving for points here and there. Everything matters. They all matter equally, and literally you're hanging on every arrow. So Paige off to a great start with a 30. Lisell's got a 9 and a 9-star down on our scoreboard here on the floor, meaning it could be a 10. She really needs to get this one in to keep it close, and that's another 9. I think you're seeing some nerves out of there. It's a tough ask for a 20-year-old on her second ever final stage to come out on this stage and deal with this crowd against an American favorite.
And that's it. You do see crowds like this at a couple of different indoor events, don't you, Steve?
You see crowds, nothing of this size. This is a...
Kings of Archery comes to mind.
Right, yeah.
Nîmes has a decent crowd occasionally. Right. But this crowd is a rowdy one, and there are thousands of people lining these stands. But, Steve, one of the things that I wanted to talk about is going to be the order in which they shoot. What we saw was Paige kind of doing what a lot of people do, which is, a top to bottom or even a bottom up type thing. But Lisell, she shoots bottom first, then top, then middle.
Yeah.
Any particular insight as to why she might do it that way?
No, I couldn't explain that. Sometimes you'll see a shooter go bottom to top, and that's just because in certain venues with certain lighting, you shoot an arrow in the top target, it'll cast a shadow down into the middle target, right? So they'll shoot bottom to top to keep shadows out of the next target that they're about to shoot. But her order here is unconventional. Does it matter? I'm not sure. Ultimately they're trying to do the same thing on every target, aim in the center and execute a good shot. Now, much different from the recurve, right? Compound is using a magnified sight, so they do have, a little bit of a zoomed in view of the target. And then they have what's called a peep sight that they look through, which is effectively a rear sight, which helps them get a little bit better aim, a little more consistency than what the recurvers are working with. And then the bow itself is much different, right? It uses a pulley system, gives them a mechanical advantage. Whereas the recurvers are, recurve women typically pulling around 42 pounds. These compound women are pulling around 55. But when they hit full draw, they only have to hold about 18, 19 pounds. So it's a much different game, much different equipment. You see the stabilizers hanging off the bow, those long rods. Those are there to help aid in stabilization. It's exactly what it is. So it helps them aim. If you're wondering, hey, that stuff looks pretty weird. This isn't like, stick bows I see here and there. Yeah, it's a much different game. But this is compound archery, and we're hoping to see this on bigger stages in the future as well.
And this is what this game is all about, being able to find your rhythm and find that small 10 ring on center stage here in Las Vegas. It's the Indoor World Series. We're going to have 5 ends of competition, and what we mean by that is every time archers shoot 3 arrows, in archery we call that an end. So it's 3 ends, 5 times. The maximum point value you can get is 150 points. Now, you can see bottom left part of your screen, it's 58 to 56 at the moment, but there's judges down checking scores, and sometimes we get an updated score on how that's going to play out. If at the end of 5 ends, if we're tied, like you're talking about cumulative scoring, Steve, then we get to go to a 1-arrow shoot-off closest to the center, and that is exciting.
I'd love to see one today, too. Right off the bat, though, Paige is off to an early lead. Now, Paige has a couple of close arrows that they're going to update here, and they are saying it stands at 10.99, so we're at 58-56, Pearce over Jaatma. And Lisell's going to lead us off here in the 3rd end.
And why is that, Steve?
So the trailing archer is always going to lead. That allows them to ideally shoot some 10s, put the pressure on the archer who's in the lead. And that's really all you can do in archery. There's no defense. All you can do is put up your best score and see if it can rattle the competitor. And for Lisell, she's absolutely got to put some 10s in here because a 2-point lead is fairly sizable in this game. We saw Paige's matches coming into this. There was a number of them. She finished with a 148, so the final stage has got her, a little bit rattled. She dropped a couple points she probably otherwise wouldn't elsewhere. But we saw the same out of Lisell, and Paige's rolling with a healthy lead. Good 10s by both of them there.
California native, Paige Pearce, 24 years old, solidifying herself as the future of the sport, but already a veteran.
Yeah.
And she is putting up some solid numbers at the moment.
Yeah, Lisell, you can still see some big 9s there, Looks like she's struggling to get comfortable on the big stage, and that's totally understandable. Paige has got the rhythm now.
She certainly does. Now, Steve, these 2 archers using a release aid in their right hand, you can see next to their chin, but they use 2 completely different release aids, don't they?
Right, so one of them's using a thumb button, the other one's using a hinge release. Here you see Paige wrap her thumb around that button, and now she's going to pull through it. A lot of people think, oh, they push the button to make it go, but when you try to do that, that leads to a lot of sticky situations we won't get into too deep. Basically, you're going to continue to pull against the bow and add pressure, and eventually it trips that trigger on its own and releases it, and bye-bye goes the arrow. And Lisell shooting I believe she was shooting a hinge release, and that operates off rotation. So there's no trigger, but as the hinge, so you'd hold the hinge to one side, hold the release to one side, and then as it rotates away, there's what we call a hook and a moon. And as the hook clears the moon, it opens up and fires.
And here's a look at Paige as she uses her release, and you can see the confidence in her face. when she hit that one, Lisell was going to rotate through that hinge release and get that shot off. I think after the big Nîmes win for Lisell, you would think she would come here and be comfortable on this center stage, but it's a whole different ball game here in Las Vegas. So we have 3 ends of arrows already shot. So 9 arrows. We have 6 more to go. Confirmation that it's 88 to 84, and they're changing target faces. Steve, why?
So if they can't score an arrow, if there's a scoring line that's clearly damaged to the point where another arrow near or around that line wouldn't be judgeable, then they'll put up a new target face. And it looks like they did it for both archers, which is fair. So, yeah, you'll typically see that in a compound match just because the scoring ring is small and the arrows are large. You know, they're both shooting a max diameter 23 size arrow, 23/64 of an inch. And again, to score a 10, all you got to do is touch that line. Lisell, she's been hanging just a little low and then has a little bit of lefts and rights going. I'm thinking she's just struggling to settle things down and get a good solid aim. Paige looks like it's just out.
Just out means, when we're talking about archery, it's a 9 score, not a 10 score. So oftentimes we just focus on that middle. And so when we say just out, that's what we're looking at.
Just out of the 10 ring, yeah. That's easy for me to get into archery speak here.
Oh, yeah, of course.
There's plenty of other terms we could go into that would make absolutely no sense to anybody, but try to say there again, a liner, as we might say, or a jar licker, one that's also very close but doesn't appear to be in.
See, what Paige is doing for Lisell, though, she gave her a couple of opportunities to get some points back.
Right.
And Lisell Jaatma from Estonia not able to capitalize.
No.
So it doesn't look like a lot of damage done for Paige Pearce in this one, this particular end. And that's another point that she'll get back.
Yep.
So it looks like Lisell Jaatma has been scoring 28 out of a possible 30, another 28, 28, and 27, where Paige has been floating around the 30 and 28 range, and that's why you're seeing the difference in score.
Yeah, you can see a little bit of frustration coming out on her. She's expressing to Tate there that frustration, but she's done enough to get a 5-point lead. Now, when we're talking compound archery, 3 arrows to go, that's almost a guarantee, right? Now, stranger things have happened, but a big mistake by Paige is going to be a 9. You're not going to see much in the red from archers like this occasionally, but don't expect it. There's got to be a lot of pressure involved, and then a number of things have to go wrong at the same time. So Paige, a 5-point lead, right? She's going to be able to relax and shoot these last 3 arrows virtually carefree. All she needs to do is hit the yellow, which in theory is extremely easy for an archer of her ability.
Yeah, we call that protecting the gold in this one. Final end of competition, final 3 arrows to be shot to decide who's going to win the gold medal here at the Indoor Archery World Series Finals. Coming at you from South Point Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas, Nevada. As we get ready for these final 3 arrows, I'm Greg White with Steve Anderson, who's been on this stage before here in Las Vegas a couple of years ago, unexpectedly actually shooting for gold.
I forgot about that. Yeah, I woke up from a nap and got told, hey, you've made the final. So I didn't know that. I was in my bed sick and had to borrow some equipment. Actually, didn't bring the right stuff. So,
but made his way all the way to center stage where Lisell Jaatma just launched a 10.
Yeah, it's a good arrow from Lisell. Good to see that.
Answer from Paige Pearce.
You want to see Lisell get comfortable on the stage because this, for her, is development in her young career. So anytime you can find yourself in this arena shooting for a championship, that's good. That's going to help you the next time you're here.
Yeah, even though some may look at it and say too little, too late, it's always a building process in archery.
Yep.
Experience makes a difference. And Paige Pearce now trying to close this match out with a perfect score 30. And Lisell Jaatma, all she can do is really just go for that 10 ring, and she gets it. So finally, she gets that 30 that she was looking for, but unfortunately, it's in the 5th of 5 ends. Paige Pearce, a 6 to win.
I mean, she just has to score. 6 ring, minimum ring on the target here today. So she just got to there's the 10.
Bingo, bango. Paige Pearce with a 10 and a 146 to 141 win. And the trips around the world, literally Paige Pearce took a trip around the world. It started for her over a month ago in Iowa. Then they went straight from Iowa to Australia, then Australia to Nîmes, and then Nîmes back to Lancaster, Pennsylvania, then back to California, and then to here. So Paige Pearce will take gold and is the Indoor Archery World Series final champion in this one, and she'll celebrate on top of the podium. Outstanding shooting from Paige. A 146, Steve, is a very solid score under the pressure and the spotlights here in Las Vegas.
Yep. If you can put that down in the finals match, you're doing okay.
And the question for the future, could we see more from Lisell Jaatma and Paige Pearce as the years roll on? Something tells me it's going to happen, and it's going to happen often.